When people say something's impossible, everything's been done, that just means everything has not been done. They just don't know.
They say if we build it, they will come. It's nice to have the ability to start small and to grow as the demand requires. Now we're able to build in a way that allows us to scale if what we've built is popular.
We are moving into AI-driven era where AI takes care of higher order activities.
Today's tools are allowing people to execute if they have the grit and determination.
People build what they can imagine.
Damas y caballeros, vamos a dar a Julien Gros, vicepresidente del sur de Europa de AWS.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Really appreciate all of you being here. Welcome to the AWS Summit Madrid 2025, and thank you for taking time off your busy day. We know you have a very busy schedule, and honestly, we're honored and thankful for you deciding to spend some time with us today. Look, I just came from Paris last night, and the city of Paris is still buzzing after Alcaraz's performance at Roland Garros on Sunday. What an athlete, and it's already a legend. And so congratulations to Spain for another fantastic tennis player and a great game. Look, next week we also have the AWS Summit in Milan, and I think I'll probably use another introduction. So, but I have some time to think about that one. But enough about tennis. We're living in an extraordinary era. I don't know if you all recognize it or if we all recognize it, but it's just an extraordinary era we're in. It's the era of general artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence. And what an era to be in. It's incredible to see how this technology is transforming the way we work. It's transforming the way we study, the way we live, the way we create, the way we innovate, the way we prepare events like today. And there is so much to be proud of in Spain in terms of the AI and Gen AI adoption. It's absolutely impressive. And so this morning, what I wanted to do is spend a few minutes with you talking about how Spanish companies, Spanish organizations are using Gen AI because it's really impressive. First of all, according to a study we commissioned, and you can download it from our website, 1.6 million businesses in Spain are now using AI and Gen AI. 1.6 million businesses. This is about half of the businesses. And this 50% of businesses using Gen AI in Spain, you can compare that to an average of 42% in Europe. So Spain is way above the adoption rate in Europe. It's way above France also, where I come from, where the adoption rate today is at 30%. So 50% is really impressive. The other thing that's impressive is last year in 2024, 450,000 businesses adopted Gen AI for the first time. That's about one business every minute in 24 which adopted Gen AI. It's just mind-boggling, some of those numbers. And those are adoption rates never seen before in the space of technology. If you think about it, this is faster than the adoption of cell phones in the year 2000. Another number that I put up there is 24% of businesses are also increasing their spend and their investment in Gen AI. So this trend is going to continue, and you're right to continue, because when you monitor the impact that this technology has, 96% of businesses which we surveyed and which are using Gen AI are talking about an increase in their revenue. 96%. If you deploy Gen AI, you'll increase your revenue and you'll increase the bottom line for your company. So those stats, this is why companies are adopting it so fast. Companies are adopting it in all sizes, in all segments, but there are a few discrepancies. Very large enterprises, 69% of those very large enterprises are adopting Gen AI today, which is an impressive number. However, and this is where we need to be a little bit careful, only 6% of large enterprises have a comprehensive AI strategy. And by that I mean looking at ways you can use AI and Gen AI to create new sources of revenue, innovate, create new businesses, only 6%. So most of them are still using it for pretty simple tasks like chatbots or process improvements and getting small incremental gain. So a question for you, if you're managing or you're part of a large enterprise, are you part of the 6% or are you part of the 94%? If you're part of the 94%, think about it. The other segment is obviously the startup segments. About 66% of startups are now using Gen AI, but more than a third actually have a comprehensive Gen AI strategy and are looking at it to create the businesses and the revenue streams for tomorrow. And as you know, at AWS, there is no one to talk about the technology better than our customers. And for this, I think we should welcome on stage, and help me welcome on stage, Enrique Lizaso from Multiverse Computing. And please welcome Enrique to join me. Enrique, welcome. Thank you for being here. And look at this.
Oh, thank you very much for being here. I am completely thrilled just to share what we are doing with this super nice bunch of gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Sure.
Well, thanks for being here. So you're the CEO and the founder of Multiverse Computing. You're a startup here in Spain. You use Gen AI. You use it in a profound way, but you've really put it at the core of what you do. Can you maybe explain to all of us what Multiverse Computing does?
Yes, this is really important. One of the problems you mentioned is the deployment of large language models. And now with agentic models, even more. This is expensive when you are using that. What we do is just to compress the model and slash the cost by half or more. And this is called compactify.
And so I was talking about the impact Gen AI has on the businesses here in Spain, 96% that see an increase in their revenue. Can you talk to us about the impact Compactify? I love the name, by the way, Compactify. It's actually Compactif AI. I love the name. Can you talk about the impact it has on businesses here and around the world?
Yes. I mean, look, a model, we can compress a model up until 95% in size. Yes, really, 95. And the cost will go down up until 30% of the original cost, or even 80. Some customers from us, they were spending 100,000 euros a month in LLMs. We halved that exactly with the new API, and you can just use that directly and slash the cost of deployment, those models.
That's impressive. An example where you can cut the cost by half. That's really impressive. So for AWS customers out there, how easy is it to deploy Compactify?
And this is exactly the point just of being here. Okay, we are launching our APIs and models, the last version, the last family of Llama 4, DeepSeek, even that, some from Mistral, Llama 3, some others. And those are available through AWS Marketplace. And super easy with just the same standard API for accessing that.
That's awesome. So you built this company, you're already providing 30 to 80% savings to your customers. What's next?
Wow. this is impressive because models are getting larger and we are just compressing more. We can even do semantic compression. This is just extreme compression just to preserve some parts of the information and discard everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, future is so great.
Well, the future is going to be awesome. But Enrique, thanks for being with us today. Thank you for sharing this. Isn't it exciting how you're transforming the future and innovating? So thanks for being with us. A big round of applause for Enrique. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, I wanted to thank you all for being here this morning. I now have the pleasure of welcoming on stage Susanna Kurek, who is going to take you through the rest of this presentation. A huge round of applause for Susanna, and thank you everyone for being here.
Bueno, buenos días a todos y gracias por venir a nuestro Madrid Summit 2025. Como cada año, estamos muy emocionados de teneros aquí en el mismo lugar a toda nuestra comunidad de clientes, nuestros partners y nuestros expertos en tecnología para hablar, ya sabéis, de innovación, de tecnología en la nube, inteligencia artificial. Y este año estamos aún más emocionados porque cumplimos 10 años desde que el programa de Global Summit llegó a España. Y antes de comenzar, quiero dar una noticia más. Diana me acaba de decir que hemos conseguido, como el año pasado, llenar este espacio con 10.000 personas. Yo creo que nos merecemos un aplauso, ¿no? ¡Yes! Y tenemos una agenda acorde. Más de 150 sesiones, desde demos, experiencias únicas, charlas de expertos, casos de clientes, casos de partners, donde AWS está en el centro. Nuestra tecnología es clave para que las empresas puedan transformar e innovar sus negocios. Y antes que nada, quiero dar un gran gracias. Gracias a los patrocinadores, que sin vosotros esto no hubiera sido posible. Gracias especialmente a los patrocinadores globales que estáis presentes en todos nuestros summits a nivel mundial y también a los partners que estáis aquí, los patrocinadores que estáis aquí con nosotros en el Summit de Madrid. Sois tantos, como podéis ver, que me resulta imposible nombraros a todos, pero muchísimas gracias por estar aquí hoy. Y ahora quiero mostraros cómo año tras año fortalecemos nuestra inversión y nuestro compromiso con España. No solo os traemos la oferta de la nube más completa en el mundo mundial, con 240 servicios para todo tipo de cargas, sino también tenemos un compromiso para que haya un impacto positivo en este país, para digitalizar y acelerar esa digitalización. Y por eso os quiero nombrar 3 frentes donde estamos trabajando y muy intencionadamente. Formación, sostenibilidad y la continua inversión en infraestructura. Empezando por la formación. Desde 2017, AWS ha formado a 200.000 personas en habilidades digitales. No solo aquí en España, y no paramos. Vamos a seguir trabajando para formar a más personas. De hecho, al principio de este año hemos firmado un acuerdo junto con Amazon, con el Ministerio de Educación, que vamos a formar 500.000 de estudiantes en habilidades tecnológicas y digitales para 2027. Y aquí, en este acuerdo, hoy lanzamos AWS Futuro IA. Es un programa de formación para formar a estudiantes universitarios y de FP en toda España. Y hoy vamos a tener no solo este evento aquí, sino también vamos a seguir hablando con esto por la tarde. Y este programa no solo tiene un aspecto tecnológico, sino también tiene una parte de reflexión y de desarrollo profesional con mentorías y charlas inspiracionales. Nuestro segundo compromiso es con la sostenibilidad. Amazon y AWS estamos trabajando incansablemente para llegar a 0 emisiones netas en 2040. Actualmente tenemos 94 proyectos de energía renovable y España es el segundo país fuera de Estados Unidos con más proyectos de energía renovable. Y de hecho, nuestra región de España ya desde el inicio de su apertura equipa la energía usada con energía proveniente 100% de energía renovable. Y también tenemos un compromiso con el agua, devolver más agua a la comunidad de lo que estamos usando en nuestro centro de datos. Actualmente tenemos 5 proyectos en España, 3 que anunciamos este año, una inversión de 17,2 millones de euros. Y un proyecto de estos es en Aragón, en Zaragoza. Vamos a trabajar para prevenir las futuras inundaciones en la zona de Zaragoza, en Aragón. Nuestro tercer compromiso, el compromiso con el impacto económico en España. Conocéis nuestra inversión que planeamos, los 15.700 millones, con un impacto positivo en el PIB de 21.600 millones y que apoyaremos anualmente a 17.500 puestos de trabajo. Y lo que sí nos damos cuenta, esta infraestructura está permitiendo a las empresas españolas, a las organizaciones españolas, de acelerar su innovación, de transformar sus negocios y elevar su resiliencia. Nosotros, antes de construir o poner en marcha un centro de datos, dedicamos infinidad de horas para identificar esas posibles amenazas. Implementamos, diseñamos, probamos todos los controles para garantizar que esos sistemas, esa tecnología y las empresas, las personas que empleamos contrarresten esos riesgos. El día 28 de abril fue un día para la historia, el apagón. Gracias a esta planificación, gracias a esos sistemas de recuperación, este día los centros de datos de España de AWS funcionaron con total normalidad y permitimos a nuestros clientes de poder funcionar como cualquier otro día más. Quiero nombrar algunos casos como Axpo, como Idealista, como la ONCE, que fueron capaces de dar, con la misma normalidad como cualquier otro día, dar acceso a esos servicios críticos para sus miles de usuarios y clientes. Y para finalizar, os quiero dejar con una frase mítica de nuestro CTO Werner Vogel, CTO global de Amazon, que demuestra muy bien cómo trabaja AWS y nuestra filosofía. Todo falla, prepárate para fallar y nada fallará. Y con esto os invito para que disfrutéis todas las soluciones de hoy, que sea un día lleno de aprendizaje y que tenéis una gran experiencia hoy. Y con esto, permíteme invitar a Deepak Singh, nuestro VP de Developers y Agents y Experiences, al estreno. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí hoy. Floor is yours. Algo this way.
Thank you, Susanna. And hello, Madrid. This is my second time back here, and I'm super excited. Spain is one of my favorite countries to visit. I love the food. I love the great culture. It is my favorite national team in football. Sorry about the Nations League. But I'm rooting for Spain to win the World Cup next year, and I'm sure Alcaraz's win in Paris makes up for it, at least for now. Today, I wanted to start with a question. And that question is, what if you could build anything that you could imagine? In fact, one of the best parts about being a builder is that you get an idea and you get to make it happen. You get to make it real. You get to get it to your customers. At AWS, our goal is to give you the building blocks that you need to make your ideas real. We've seen you build remarkable things with these building blocks, improving how we heal people, how we heal the planet, transforming finance, changing fandoms, even helping the blind see. Inventions made possible because of the building blocks that we've provided AWS for the last 20 years. This idea of building blocks is fundamental to how we think about invention at AWS. We build services that do a job really, really, really well, and we then make it easy for you to combine these services to build these applications that are going to change people's lives. But there are some things that are so fundamental that they just have to be part of everything that you do. And for us, that is security. At AWS, security is built into the fabric of everything that we do, from the silicon all the way up the stack. And once you have a secure foundation, you can start thinking about other problems. And what comes next for many of our customers is scale. And scale at AWS is best personified by our global backbone. AWS has the world's largest private network with more than 6 million kilometers of private fiber connecting all of our regions, all of our availability zones, and all of our edge locations. And in fact, just last year, we increased the capacity of this network by 80%, and we're going to keep doing so as our customers continue to scale on AWS. Which brings us to our first building block, compute. This one is really special to me. I started at AWS 17 years ago working on EC2 and continued to work on compute for most of my career there. Today, you can get as much compute as you want from AWS. You can get all kinds of compute options depending on what you want to do. You can get virtual servers, containers, or functions. And talking of virtual servers, let's talk about EC2. When I joined AWS 17 years ago, we only had 2 instance types. Today, there are over 850 instance types that enable you to access whatever use case you want in the cloud. In fact, there are workloads now that you can run that people said you could never run in the cloud. Those could be workloads that demand extraordinary computing power, video transcoding, scientific modeling, machine learning, or enterprise workloads that require massive in-memory databases or complex analytics. All of these are now possible. And with the rise of generative AI, and you'll hear that word a lot this week, accelerated computing has become more popular and more important than ever. And for that, you need accelerated computing instances. And AWS is by far the best place to run GPU workloads. We've had a partnership with NVIDIA for over 14 years, and we keep providing new instances that help you power the next generation of applications. And a great example of this is the new P6 family of instances that feature the NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs with the GB200 superchips that will be available soon. But as you run more training and more inference on these GPUs, very often for short bursts, we realized that our builders needed more flexibility. And for them, we built EC2 capacity blocks that provide instant, reliable capacity for short periods of time on high-demand GPUs. So if you have a training workload that you need to run for 2 months, or some kind of critical inferencing job, or you're doing some fine-tuning, you can use capacity blocks to help you get the capacity you need in a reliable way. Innovation is almost never in a straight line. It's fundamentally nonlinear. And the considerations about how and what you scale continue to change all the time. This is a challenge that was faced by Canva. Let's take a look.
Innovation is always about solving problems and helping people to achieve their goals more quickly than ever before. Our goal at Canva was to always enable people to take their idea and turn it into a design and have no friction between those 2 points. So you can now create a beautiful whiteboard. You can create an incredible presentation, all with a click, with the power of AI. Today, we have more than 220 million people using Canva each month, and our goal is to get to 1 billion people each month.
Scaling generative AI products to 1 billion users means that we have to be global. We have to be in all of the available data centers around the world and ensure that the right capacity and the right GPU instance types are available. And that's where AWS really comes to the table, working with us to scale as we need it. We can't empower the world to design if our platform and our tool isn't reliable. Using AWS ensures that we've got all of the right baseline capabilities available that are secure, reliable, available when we need it, and that just increases trust with our customers.
Being able to rapidly ship product to the whole world and deploy it is an extraordinarily important part of our success. So it's been amazing to partner with AWS on that incredible journey.
We're just 1% of the way there. Canva is just getting started, and we cannot wait for you to see what we have coming up next.
It's like Canva that drive the enormous scale and push us to make compute faster, more reliable, more sustainable, and more cost-effective for all of you. These are the improvements that empower you to build anything that you want. And one area that we do this is Graviton. Graviton was the first custom CPU from AWS. Today, Graviton is on its 4th generation. I was lucky to be there when it first started. And the fun part about Graviton is it's Graviton 4 in particular, it's 45% faster than Graviton 3 and uses 60% less energy for the same price performance as comparable instances. In fact, this amazing power, performance capabilities and sustainability of Graviton are so popular with our customers that over the last 2 years, we have landed more Graviton chips than any other CPU type in AWS. And creating Graviton gave us the momentum and the ideas to take on even bigger problems. As machine learning and artificial intelligence have become more popular, we started building purpose-built AI chips, Inferentia and Trainium. Each chip is designed with the same principles that have made Graviton so successful. We want to give you exceptional performance at significantly lower cost with much better sustainability. Today, Trainium 2 instances offer the best price performance for generative AI and deep learning on AWS. They're up to 4 times faster and 3 times more energy efficient than Trainium 1 instances, a breakthrough that's already changing the economics of AI on AWS. And some of the world's largest foundation model providers are now using Trainium 2 to dramatically cut their training costs. And a great example of this is Anthropic. Millions of customers, probably many of you here today, rely on Anthropic's Claude model for their work. So together, AWS and Anthropic are advancing the future of generative AI. And Anthropic is training Claude on Trainium 2 chips. And for builders using Claude, what does it mean? More intelligence, lower prices, and better performance. That's a great place to be. Bringing ideas to life requires multiple building blocks. One is not going to be enough. And that brings us to our next building block, storage. Back in the early days of Amazon, I'm talking about the retail world of Amazon, it took developers weeks, months, sometimes even years to build their own storage systems. Every new project would require a new storage system to be built, and we knew that didn't work. It's undifferentiated heavy lifting. So we needed a solution that allowed builders to be able to access data from any service that they were building inside the company. And we quickly realized that our customers would need that too. And that's what led to the birth of Amazon S3. Today, there are more than 400 trillion objects in S3. This is data that can be used from any other AWS service for your applications. S3 has continued to evolve as your applications and your needs have evolved. So as an example, let's take a look at open table formats, like Apache Iceberg. So Apache Iceberg, for those of you who don't know, is an open source, high performance table format for very large analytical data sets and uses formats like Parquet. There are exabytes of Parquet files on AWS in S3 today. So to effectively work with Parquet, such large volumes of data, Iceberg uses metadata. And underneath the hood, it's a hierarchy of snapshots, metadata and manifests that they use to manage their snapshots and their table updates. But when you use Iceberg, you have to manage all of it. It's not easy to maintain, and as you scale, it becomes even harder to do so. So we saw an opportunity, like we often do at AWS, to remove that undifferentiated heavy lifting for all our customers. And we did that by creating a new S3 table type called S3 Tables, which supports Iceberg. It enables you to quickly manage all your snapshots, all your query data, without having to set anything up You just declare a table as an S3 table in a bucket, and this new bucket type allows you to start using Iceberg. To add on to this, we created S3 metadata, which automatically generates system metadata, your object size, your storage class, your encryption type. You can also create custom tags and custom that make finding whatever data you have simple. So you combine S3 tables, S3 metadata, and all the other capabilities of S3, and you have a powerful data storage system that you can use for all kinds of data types. Our customers are creating data products from all the data that they're storing in S3. And in fact, if you think about it, most end users don't care about the raw data. They want access to data products that are simple to use for their use case. And for those use cases, very often, those data products rely on our next building block, databases. At AWS, we have databases for every kind of use case imaginable and every database type imaginable. These are extremely powerful, but they come with some challenges. Your data can get siloed, and as you scale and as the silos get distributed, it becomes very, very difficult to track continuity in things like transactions and how those transactions are recorded. And transactions come down to time. You want precise time, down to the microsecond, as you look at distributed databases to figure out how a transaction was done and where it was done. You need clocks that are precisely synced. Well, we have an advantage. We control all of the infrastructure that AWS runs on, and we put atomic clocks with microsecond precision in these data centers through the Amazon TimeSync service, which all of you can use for all your needs. But with databases, they give you another advantage. You can now build multi-region strong consistency with low latency across databases, whether they're SQL databases or NoSQL databases. What does it mean? Virtually unlimited scale across the globe, so you can do it across regions, no infrastructure management, and you use a serverless architecture. You can add multi-region active-active applications capability to your databases in ways that you just couldn't before. Makes it easy to build and easy to operate. And you're always in control of where your data resides. That's super important. This is important because you're building applications that are being used from many users. You have many kinds of applications accessing this data. You'll want to build multiple building blocks together. Madrid Digital, a part of Comunidad de Madrid, is using these AWS building blocks to connect its citizens. So to tell us more, please welcome Elena Leria Fernandez, Consejera Delegada at Madrid Digital.
Buenos días a todos. Muchísimas gracias a AWS por invitar a la Comunidad de Madrid e invitar a Madrid Digital a este AWS Summit para contaros Cuenta Digital, nuestra nueva plataforma de administración digital de la Comunidad de Madrid para todos sus ciudadanos. Como sabéis, la Comunidad de Madrid somos 7 millones de habitantes, medio millón de empresas trabajan en la región y nuestro Gobierno está conformado por 9 consejerías. Una de ellas, la primera y única Consejería de Digitalización, con foco exclusivamente en tecnología, en digitalización. Por eso queríamos resolver todos los problemas que como ciudadanos normalmente tenemos con la Administración, porque somos complicados y queríamos dar una solución a todos estos desafíos. ¿Quién de aquí no ha tenido alguna vez dificultades con la Administración? Yo creo que todos en algún momento de nuestra vida hemos sufrido con algún trámite y eso es lo que queríamos resolver desde la Comunidad de Madrid con Cuenta Digital. Siempre nos quejamos de que nos piden un montón de datos, un montón de documentos. ¿Por qué no puedo trabajar igual que trabajo con un banco o como trabajo con una compra en Amazon? Siempre es complicada la identidad, logarte, somos muy garantistas y siempre pedimos muchos documentos y muchos datos. Eso es lo que queríamos solventar con Cuenta Digital. ¿Qué es Cuenta Digital? Es nuestra plataforma para la administración digital de la Comunidad de Madrid. Es accesible a través de comunidad.madrid en la web. Tenemos también una web app para facilitar el acceso desde el móvil y una app en todos los stores que os invito a descargaros. ¿Qué es lo que logramos con Cuenta Digital cuando lanzamos Cuenta Digital en julio del 2024? Un espacio omnicanal personalizado. Nosotros lo que queríamos es que cada uno sintiese que Cuenta Digital era su propia administración, personalizada para él y para sus necesidades. Una vez que te identificas y te logas en Cuenta Digital, tienes disponibles tus datos, tus gestiones y también puedes perfilar un poco tus preferencias, elegir qué es lo que más te gusta o qué es lo que más necesitas de la Comunidad de Madrid para que nosotros, con el uso de los datos, tus preferencias, siempre cumpliendo las normativas y habiendo aceptado el uso de esos datos, mejoremos tu experiencia personalizando los servicios para ti. Utilizamos inteligencia artificial para personalizar esos servicios digitales para que tú tengas una mejor experiencia con Cuenta Digital. También tenemos un acceso a los carnés. Aquí tenéis mi título de familia numerosa, pero los que sois menores de 30, en un clic os podéis descargar en Cuenta Digital el carné joven y funciona realmente en menos de 5 minutos, lo tienes en tu móvil. También tenemos el carné del mayor y acceso a la tarjeta sanitaria. Pero no solo es eso. Cuenta Digital no solo son datos, porque eso sería como una carpeta ciudadana que conocemos otras. Nosotros también hemos querido simplificar la tramitación, hacer eso más fácil. Toda esa queja de por qué me piden los datos, por qué me piden documentación, nosotros hemos trabajado con más de 200 ciudadanos para rediseñar los servicios digitales de la Comunidad de Madrid. Tenemos incluidos en Cuenta ya 140 servicios digitales. Cada mes vamos incluyendo nuevos servicios digitales para hacerlos más sencillos, como un servicio en un clic, como un Amazon cuando compras. Actualmente tenemos, como decía, más de 140 servicios digitales. La semana pasada pusimos en marcha uno que está en calendario ahora, que es la beca de infantil. En una semana tenemos más de 15.000 solicitudes que han entrado por Cuenta Digital de una manera realmente sencilla y dentro de 2 semanas incorporaremos el servicio de beca de comedor, que este año una de las novedades que vamos a incluir en Cuenta Digital es que vamos a disponer de un borrador. Si el año pasado fuiste receptor de en Cuenta Digital de beca de comedor, dispondrás de un borrador que, si no han cambiado tus datos, simplemente tendrás que darle a un clic y haces el trámite. Si han cambiado tus datos, pues los modificas y los sigues tramitando de la misma manera ágil y sencilla. ¿Y cómo hemos llegado a Cuenta Digital y cómo hemos alcanzado esta plataforma? Pues gracias a Amazon, a sus productos y servicios que utilizamos en nuestra plataforma de Cuenta Digital. Uno de nuestros grandes retos era el trabajar los datos. O sea, al final, cuando entramos en Cuenta y disponemos de nuestros datos, nosotros teníamos que traducir los datos de la Administración. La Administración funcionamos con expedientes administrativos, que son tediosos, y están en todos nuestros sistemas, en todos nuestros legacies. Y nosotros teníamos que traducir esos expedientes administrativos en datos para los ciudadanos. Y eso es lo que hemos hecho gracias a los productos de AWS, tanto de almacenamiento como de extracción, como de calidad. Hemos conformado un gran data lake, que es lo que llamamos Ciudadano 360, de donde bebemos esos datos para vosotros en la aplicación de Cuenta Digital. También, como os decía, para ser una administración proactiva, que me conoce, que conoce mis preferencias, que conoce mis datos, utilizamos inteligencia artificial, todos los productos de AWS para poder dar esa experiencia personalizada, esa administración proactiva que queremos ser y más cercana con los ciudadanos. Pero no solamente nos quedamos en Cuenta Digital, nuestra plataforma para la Administración Digital de la Comunidad de Madrid, gracias a ser una plataforma en AWS, permite incorporar nuevos productos dentro de lo que es la plataforma. Tenemos Cuenta Digital y estamos incorporando ahora la historia social única para el ciudadano también, un espacio para el joven y otro espacio para educación, todo de manera independiente con distintos grupos de desarrollo que se embeben dentro de nuestra plataforma de administración digital. Y estos son nuestros números. En julio de 2024, nuestra presidenta anunció cuenta digital. Es verdad que no tramitamos todos los días con la Administración, con lo cual pues vamos poco a poco cogiendo adeptos, pero ya tenemos más de 500.000 de usuarios, con más de 3 millones de accesos y, sobre todo, lo más importante, hemos conseguido que los servicios digitales se usen un 33% más gracias a cuenta digital y, según vayamos incrementando servicios, pues cada vez los iremos utilizando muchísimo más. Al final tenemos más de 400.000 trámites realizados, como son la demanda de empleo, la solicitud de la tarjeta sanitaria, el carné joven que os comentaba, y también una de las cosas de las que estamos más orgullosos es que hemos conseguido que se use un 58% a través del móvil, con lo cual algo hemos mejorado en todo lo que es nuestra experiencia y siempre recogiendo feedback del ciudadano para seguir mejorando en nuestros servicios. Yo espero que con esto que os acabo de contar veáis nuestro compromiso con la digitalización para, desde la Comunidad de Madrid, desde la Consejería de Digitalización, conseguir los mejores servicios públicos para todos los madrileños de la Comunidad de Madrid. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Elena. What an amazing journey. And it's great to see our building blocks, our data services being used to connect community. Over the last few years, we have seen generative AI evolve from chatbots, text generation, images, to models that think and reason, which means we need another building block. Just like compute and storage and databases, the next most important building block is inference. And for that, we have Bedrock. We built Amazon Bedrock as the easiest way to build and scale generative AI and the ability to build generative AI applications on AWS. And this is why we continue to expand the availability of Bedrock across the globe. So what do you need to build a really good generative AI application today and in the future? Because the space changes all the time. The first one is model choice. For any of you who follows generative AI, the world of foundation models moves really quickly. Every week, or it feels like that anyway, there's a new model that is faster, more powerful, and has more capabilities than the ones the week before. And we know that there's no one model that's best for all use cases. So within Bedrock, one of the core goals right from the beginning has been to offer a broad choice of foundation models from a leading set of foundation model providers that cover a spectrum of use cases so that you can access the best model for the job at hand, including Amazon Nova. Amazon Nova is our own family of foundation models. They're designed across a number of use cases, so you have multiple options. These include reasoning and image, thinking and reasoning, image and video generation, speech-to-speech synthesis. There's 7 models in this family, and depending on what you want to do, you can access any one of them, and all of them are available in Bedrock. Once you have a model, you often want to customize it. You have to make it useful for you with the data that you have. One of the most common techniques to do that is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. There's a problem with how RAG was originally designed. It was meant to work only with unstructured data, but turns out most people have other kinds of data as well. So within Bedrock today, you have fully managed end-to-end RAG across a variety of data types, so you get more relevant, more accurate, and more explainable responses for your users. And a great example of a customer doing this is Trellix. So for those of you who don't know, Trellix is a cybersecurity company. With Amazon Nova on Bedrock, they've been able to automate threat investigations. They store billions of security events in OpenSearch as an index. And they create a knowledge base that teaches Nova all the knowledge that they have gained from human-generated investigations. So they take all the techniques, all the information they've learned, and throw it into this OpenSearch system. Nova analyzes all of these threats and gives you the same kinds of findings that a human would, because it has that intelligence built in. And it cuts costs by 65%. It's a great example of how RAG can help LLMs be better for your customers. Once you have data, you have the foundation model, Trust and security are paramount for generative AI applications. Bedrock Guardrails helps you block harmful or unwanted inputs and outputs for your applications. Let's take an example. Let's say you are processing insurance claims. You can add Bedrock Guardrails to prevent harmful content, language that you don't care about, words that you don't want in the output of your results based on whatever brand and policies that you have. And you can customize this to your needs. But Guardrails can do even more. Perhaps the biggest challenge for GenAI adoption, at least within the enterprise, is hallucinations. So how can you make hallucinations become less of a problem? And that's where Bedrock Guardrails comes in. And at AWS, we have found that automated reasoning can be used to drive down the uncertainty in AI-generated responses significantly. Bedrock Guardrails, automated reasoning checks, are the first and only safeguard that helps prevent factual errors due to hallucinations. And this is pretty impressive and pretty awesome. After that is affordability. Inference is not cheap. If you keep inferencing and using up those tokens, you can rack up quite the bill. So in Bedrock, we give you many ways that you can reduce your cost of inferencing. The first of this is model distillation. I'm actually a huge fan of this technique. With model distillation, you take a large parameter model, a high parameter model, and use it to train a small parameter model. It's kind of like a teacher teaching a student and giving it its knowledge. And distilled models in Amazon Bedrock can be 500% faster and up to 75% less expensive than the larger models. And we see a lot of customers using these techniques effectively. Bedrock offers intelligent prompt routing as well. So you can design an application to use multiple models, and then Bedrock's intelligent prompt routing will find the right model for the query that you're sending. It can send certain ones to smaller models, and the more expensive, more thinking, more reasoning queries that you have to the larger models, and it does that automatically. And you can reduce costs by up to 30%, and you're not compromising on accuracy at all because you're choosing the right model for the job. And finally, you have utility. Your GenAI applications have to be useful. They have to be simple. They can't be too complex. And this is where agents come in. Agents are going to be a term that all of you are going to be thinking about a lot as we go along. If you go back just a couple of years, generative AI was single shot. You sent a prompt, you got back a response. Very quickly, we went to multi-turn conversations. It became conversational. You could send many prompts and get responses and iterate. But even that seems like it was 20 years ago, because agents are changing how we use generative AI. Agents don't just respond. They act. They work on a problem not unlike how a person would do. They plan, they can select tools, they can generate results, they can reflect to determine the responses. They can go back and change their approach because they think they found a better one if further iteration is required. And they tend to do that automatically, especially with the newest generation of foundation models. And let's see an example of how it works. So here, I live in software development tools, so we're going to pick one of those examples. We're going to modify an app that we have built, creating an endpoint that calls Claude Sonnet in Bedrock to analyze the transcript. We see how agents are rationalizing the problem. They are breaking it up, taking steps to create the new code. Once the code has been generated, we can review the update, and if you like it, we can merge in the changes. And quite honestly, these techniques and how plans are generated and how tools are used are getting better every day. A historic company recently underwent a major digital transformation on AWS that has contributed to new innovative capabilities, including deploying 50 AI models and fundamentally changing how it serves its customers. Please welcome to the stage Iberia Airlines Chief Financial Transformation and Technology Officer, Gabriel Pardiguero de la Torre.
Wow. Muchas gracias a todos por venir, por uniros a este fantástico evento de innovación y tecnología. Gracias, Julien. Gracias, Susana. Gracias, Amazon, por hacerlo posible. Antes de empezar, estaba reflexionando, descargaros todos la app que ha comentado Elena. Yo por poquito no me puedo bajar el abono joven. pero seguro que me voy a bajar la tarjeta de familia numerosa, que siempre la pierdo, así que voy a hacerlo inmediatamente. Y hablando de edades y de juventud, la verdad es que esto me recuerda que todos los que estamos aquí probablemente hayamos tenido unas curiosidades en la infancia parecidas. Yo era un niño que cogía los juguetes, los abría, solo para ver cómo funcionaban y los volvía a montar. A veces funcionaban otra vez, a veces no. Y de ahí pasé por el Spectrum, Commodore. A mí la tecnología me lo ha dado todo, hasta llegar a ser el director financiero y de tecnología de Iberia. Llevo 11 años y es el proyecto de mi vida. Entonces, bueno, vamos a hablar de una compañía y una historia de transformación. Iberia es la línea aérea de bandera de España. Se fundó en el 1927. Vamos a hacer 100 años dentro de nada. 100 años de empresa joven, innovadora y transformadora. Somos la empresa número 1 en los vuelos en España entre Europa y Latinoamérica, 140 destinos, parte del grupo IAG y un equipo de más de 10.000 personas que hacen que hayamos sido la aerolínea más puntual en el 23 y en el 24 de Europa, que como veremos después no es sencillo de conseguir. Nuestro propósito en general es, desde España, generamos prosperidad conectando personas en el mundo. Aproximadamente el 1% del PIB de España está generado, o generamos el 1% del PIB de España tanto con indirecto como directo. Y esto se resume de una forma muy sencilla. Llevar a nuestros clientes de A a B con la maleta, en hora y con una sonrisa. Y para esto hace falta muchísima tecnología y unos partners increíbles. Nosotros tenemos, cuando comenzamos este plan de transformación que hoy vengo a contaros, teníamos 3 objetivos principales en este plan de transformación con nuestro partner Amazon. 1, centralizar todos los datos en un solo sitio. 2, crear una plataforma de datos en tiempo real que ayudara a nuestro equipo a tomar decisiones durante las operaciones. Y 3, desplegar capacidades de transformación digital e IA que generaran valor real en nuestra cuenta de resultados. Aquí es donde me sale más el gorrito de CFO. ¿Vale? Para nosotros eso era clave. Y en todo este camino llevamos trabajando con Amazon más de 8 años. Me preguntaba Julián si yo he estado allí desde el 17. Afortunadamente he tenido ese privilegio. Y podemos decir que creemos que hemos conseguido recientemente un gran hito. Hemos subido todas nuestras cargas a la nube prácticamente. Estamos cerrando nuestro data center físico. Y eso para nosotros ha supuesto un gran hito y por diferentes razones, no solo por mover infraestructura, sino por el valor que Amazon nos proporciona encima de la infraestructura para innovar y transformarnos. En este camino que empezamos en el 2021, hemos subido más de 1.200 bases de datos, 1.600 servidores, más de 500 aplicaciones y lo hemos hecho de diferentes formas. Digamos, un poco las aplicaciones Mission Critical las hemos refactorizado, las hemos adaptado para la nube. Algunas aplicaciones más legacy las hemos subido lift and shift. Y sí, se puede correr COBOL en Amazon, aunque esperemos que no durante mucho tiempo. Estamos en ello. Y tercero, desde el 21, todo lo que hemos desarrollado nuevo lo hemos desarrollado en nativo, que es evidentemente un paso exponencial para nosotros. Adicionalmente, estamos analizando la oportunidad que la región española y en Zaragoza nos brinda. Gracias otra vez a Amazon por esta inversión en nuestro país, que creemos que es diferencial. Para nosotros va a suponer empezar por tener un disaster recovery mejor, nuestros backups, vamos a mejorar en latencia comparado con las otras geografías donde estamos ahora en Europa. Personalmente para mí es emocional. Mi abuelo era maño, con lo cual algo de sangre maña corre por mis venas, con lo cual ver ahí el pilar para mí es muy emocionante y por eso también estamos aquí. Entonces, recuerdo, tener una sola plataforma de datos, esos datos servirlos en tiempo real al negocio y generar capacidades de transformación digital e IA. Si empezamos por las capacidades de operaciones en tiempo real, a día de hoy, cada día estamos ingestando en la plataforma 0,3 teras de datos en tiempo real. ¿Dónde están nuestros aviones? ¿Dónde está nuestra tripulación? ¿Dónde están nuestros clientes? ¿Qué cambios de aviones tenemos? ¿Por dónde están? ¿Por dónde vuelan? En los canales digitales, cada compra de cada cliente, en qué canales, en qué tarifa. Toda esa información la estamos ingestando con tecnología de Amazon en tiempo real. Y hay personas en nuestra operación tomando decisiones sobre eso, hay gestores de rutas tomando decisiones de revenue sobre esa información, según estamos hablando hoy aquí, ¿vale? Sin incluir a los tripulantes y otras personas que están en la línea que también lo utilizan. Esto, la verdad que para nosotros, para una compañía de 100 años, y seguro que muchas personas de aquí empatizan, tener los datos en un solo sitio, en uno solo, de verdad, con la misma definición, no tener más de 20, 30 data warehouses que teníamos, bueno, pues fue un challenge que nos pusimos, al igual que ser la compañía más puntual del mundo, y lo conseguimos ser en el pasado, ¿no? Como he dicho, para nosotros esto era un challenge, no es un tema tecnológico. Esto necesita una gestión del cambio, un trabajo continuo con el negocio, y aquí agradezco también al negocio que creyera en nosotros. A día de hoy solo tenemos una plataforma de datos con solo una definición de la verdad, que eso nos hace mejor servir a nuestros clientes y también hace la vida más fácil a nuestro equipo. Y bueno, la verdad, lo que realmente nos está generando un valor increíble y estamos empezando ahora es la inteligencia artificial. Sobre esa plataforma de datos que empezamos a crear en el 2019 con un equipo, hemos construido más de 50 modelos que a día de hoy, según estamos aquí, están haciendo más de 20 millones de llamadas a modelos. 50 modelos que nos ayudan a generar más ingresos y nos ayudan a optimizar nuestros costes. Y aquí vuelve otra vez mi gorro financiero, y eso lo vemos, lo medimos y lo vemos en la cuenta de resultados. Más de 70 millones de euros generados adicionales por usuario, generados en ingresos y costes, que es un 7% aproximadamente del EBIT del 2024 de Iberia. Esto para mí es la clave, porque al final todo esto lo hacemos para mejorar la vida de nuestros clientes. Por supuesto, hay una parte de experiencia, pero también hay una parte de mejorar el negocio. Si en esa credibilidad de la tecnología y la IA, demostrando que se puede tener impacto real, la verdad es que se pierde potencia y se pierde soporte desde la dirección. Y luego también estamos utilizando, como ha comentado antes Deepak, hemos empezado a tener ya agentes de Generative AI, que les hemos puesto delante de nuestros clientes y también para nuestro propio equipo. Eso será una de nuestras prioridades a futuro. Y luego, desde el punto de vista más tecnológico de creación de aplicaciones, al final el número de despliegues que hacemos en producción se ha incrementado un 1000%. Evidentemente, esto no es solo tecnología, es tecnología acompañada de un cambio, ¿vale? Hemos reducido un 40% el tiempo de desarrollo utilizando contenedores, tecnología de Amazon, como podemos ver ahí, y luego teniendo un 100% de infraestructura por código y mejorando la observabilidad, hemos reducido un 40% los errores de lo que desplegamos. Y esto es el principio. Ya para finalizar, Iberia, conectamos personas, es mucho más que volar, es generar prosperidad. Al final, la tecnología tiene que ir al lado de ese lado humano. Una persona del equipo decía que los clientes olvidan en qué avión fueron, si llegaron a las 3 o las 3:05, qué comieron, pero no olvidan cómo les hiciste sentir. Entonces, la tecnología tiene que ayudarnos a hacer que esa experiencia la recuerden nuestros clientes. Y para finalizar, dar especial agradecimiento al equipo de negocio de Iberia y sobre todo al equipo de tecnología y data, que yo creo que estamos aquí hoy con Amazon porque compartimos ciertos valores. Definitivamente work hard, trabaja duro, lo hemos compartido durante muchos días y noches. Have fun también, nos hemos divertido porque sin eso y sin esa pasión esto no se puede conseguir. Y lo de hacer historias lo dejo para Amazon, que para nosotros queda muy grande. Nada, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Gabriel. It's incredible seeing this transformation on AWS and how you're leveraging AI to enable data-driven decision-making and contributing to additional revenue and cost savings. And as an aside, it was great to see ECS and Fargate on the slides. They're both services that I've started. It's great to see people using them. And I suppose this is one way how you can fly in the clouds. Like I said earlier, we build building blocks that do one thing really, really, really well. But most of you need more than one. In fact, you have to compose from many building blocks. So we want to make it easier for you to do everything really well. And what does it mean? We have started creating streamlined and unified experiences whose job is to take all these building blocks and present it to you in a way that you can do your work quickly and more easily. And this was the goal when we built the next generation of Amazon SageMaker. SageMaker Unified Studio combines all our best analytics solutions and brings them into our popular SageMaker service. So what does this mean? That the work that required you to go from one tool to another tool can all be accessed from this one single studio. And this changes the way your teams work. You're built on a lakehouse architecture that makes it very powerful. Your data is easily accessible from whatever tool, whatever asset that you want to use, whether it's a generative AI model, you have your end-to-end governance built in, and all of this allows your different teams to collaborate and build on the same data sources with all the tools that they want to use for their application. But all of this only works if you're running in the cloud. Migrating to the cloud can unlock huge value, but it is not always easy. It takes people, it takes cost, it can be really slow, it can take many years. And this is where AI can be really, really powerful. Over the last 19 years, AWS has helped customers overcome pretty much every kind of migration challenge. We've seen it all. So what we decided to do was, can we take all of these learnings and fit them into AI-driven solutions that can help people make this journey much more quickly? Let's take an example. Windows.NET applications, many of our customers want to migrate them to Linux because they want to simplify the architecture and get the cost savings. Our AI agents discover incompatibilities, they look at the dependency graphs, they generate a transformation plan, and then they refactor code on your behalf. And these code transformation agents have helped developers modernize applications up to 4 times faster than they used to be able to. And most importantly, they've cut the cost of Windows licensing by 40%. And because you're getting those savings much, much faster, it makes a huge difference to our customers. The next example is VMware. One of the most interesting and challenging problems when you're modernizing from VMware application is the network. Our code transformation agents tackle this hardest problem. They take VMware network configurations and firewall rules and convert them to AWS native networking constructs, which you can run in your VPCs. This speeds up the process by 80 times. We've done .NET, we've done VMware. What about mainframes? Agents can even help you migrate complex mainframe applications, starting with IBM ZOS, enabling you to take a complete mainframe application and modernize it into a cloud-native architecture. So as you can see, with these building blocks, with the right building blocks, you can imagine and build anything. Anything on a whim. And that is exactly why we're all here today. What I love most about my work is the opportunity to build tools and platforms that empower all of you to be creative, to do amazing things, to make a difference to your customers. And every conversation I have with customers, whether it's here in Madrid or anywhere else, is about giving people a chance to dive into technology, to see what they can do with it, to share ideas, to bounce ideas of each other, to learn from each other. So as you spend the day here at the AWS Summit, it's not just about the technology, it's about the people, it's about what you can learn from them. So I encourage you all, talk to the person next to you, attend the sessions, learn what you can do with these tools, these services, these building blocks. See how you can take your ideas and convert them into reality and make a difference. Thank you very much, and I hope to be back here. Enjoy the rest of the summit.